Please give it up for Roland Donnelly-Bullington.
Thank you. I think I'm also going to read from this, if that's all right with y'all. My story of Uptown has always revolved around Uptown Park. It's one of the reasons I landed in Uptown to begin with. My parents wanted to live closer to downtown and still have a yard. Though both our front and backyards are about half the size of those at the house we came from, if that, the park just outside our house made up for it, our extended front yard. Before we moved in, we made a few visits to see the progress of our house being built. While my mom was doing the boring work inside the house, my sister and I inaugurated the park, breaking it in for our summers to come. We immediately found a home there when a girl whose name we learned was Maxine came around riding a scooter and introduced herself to us. For Christmas one year, I got a green playground ball, and that summer it hardly left the park. We didn't usually knock on doors and ask kids to play. With that park right in the middle of the street, we'd just walk out with the green ball, and soon enough we'd have enough for 2 teams of kickball. This was the park where kickball was treated as a contact sport, and the rules were just kick and run. Foursquare was played last man standing without kings and queens and the rest. The park wasn't just for summers, though. While true snow days were rare, ice days were just as fun at the park. Ice balls hurt more than snowballs, and that's why you don't throw them as hard. But that's also why you toughen up during contact kickball. You were lucky if you could get a snowman as tall as 3 feet, but that never stopped us from trying. And you knew that if you left it out unguarded, it was not sacred, and you could probably watch it get toppled over from your window. Since we would get ice and not snow, though, snowmen were rare. And it was more likely you'd pretend you were on a very bumpy ice rink, not picking your feet up and skating from bench to bench, collecting icicles. There was a time when we'd have almost bi-weekly block parties in that park, and whenever I had a birthday, we'd usually end up out there at some point. I remember a neighborhood yard sale that took place in the park. I had decided to part ways with my Hot Wheels collection, which was never quite beloved, but not unimpressive. I asked my mom what a fair price would be, and she suggested $20, but to take $10 if it came to it. So I headed out with my sister, presumably selling something of her own. A woman took notice of what I was selling and was interested in buying it for her son. She asked the price, and I told her $20. My sister next to me had only heard half the conversation I had with my mom, and was so upset that she thought I was trying to upsell this woman, and she tried to right my wrong and sassily informed me that, no, Mom said $10. I didn't sell the Hot Wheels that day. That park was probably the first place I had ever picked up a football. There was a team that had their practices out in the park. The Uptown Steelers, they were called, and a friend from school convinced me to join them on the team in 5th grade. They were running out of through the neighborhood Christian center. They called me the bully as a play on Bullington. I learned to throw the ball with my dad in our backyard, and then would later go out front to the park for practice. I don't remember us winning any games, but as trite as it is, that's not why we played. Now I go to Rhodes, where I'm studying urban studies. In my studies, I get to find new ways to understand and interact with my city. In a class I took last semester, we would go between more theoretical and academic texts, and then Memphis-specific texts. In this class, taught by a non-Memphian and surrounded by non-Memphian classmates, I had readings about the first Uptown chili cook-off, which has always taken place in that park. I sat in class trying not to talk over the discussion with tales of the dessert chili I tried to enter one year. I was like 8. I centered my final project for that class around this neighborhood in what I see as the dawn of a new era in Uptown. With developments like Treedom, I think that Uptown knows that we come together best with the sun beating down on us and our moments of open space so near downtown. My parents wanted a house with a yard near downtown, and I think we got so much more than that. We got a yard, a sports field, an event space, extra seating for a porch concert, and a place to take the dogs out. We got a yard that was never just ours. We got a gathering space. Thank you.
One more time for Roland, y'all. Excellent. Well, that brings us to the end of our evening and also brings us to the official end of our coverage in Uptown and The Pinch. Though I would like to say, when we leave our embedded work in a neighborhood, we still stay in the neighborhood. We still come back, we report more stories. This is not goodbye to Uptown. This is till we see you next time to Uptown. But one more time, let's please give it up for all of our presenters tonight. And one more time for ourselves as a neighborhood and a community. Excellent job, guys. I've been Cole Bradley, again, the project editor with High Ground for this neighborhood, and it has been my absolute honor to both work here and to MC this evening. Thank you all very much. Have a great night.